with me, I'd like to bring in Anisha Bhavani, who is a guest joining me from London. Now, Anisha is a student at Warwick University. Good morning, Anisha. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, should we be harder on Amazon? Because this Indian minister, the Indian foreign minister, is saying that we need an apology from Amazon, that withdrawing sale of these mats just isn't enough. Is she right to demand an apology?
Okay, so I understand why people would be offended, because obviously, according to like Indian culture and sentiment, like feet touching something is not very nice. So it's disrespectful. Like, even if my feet were to touch books or if they were to touch a person, I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, because it's been ingrained in us, and that's just how our cultural sentiment is. But I do think we're being a bit harsh on Amazon, because they have flags, doormats with flags from almost every country. Like, I was just Googling and I found the UK, I found the US, and obviously it's difficult for like a multinational company to keep cultural sentiments in mind, stuff that's not like written anywhere, stuff that you can't foresee, you can't predict. So I think we're being a bit too harsh, especially since they've already withdrawn the flag. And especially if someone does buy the flag, then I really don't think they're buying it to criticize the country. Like, I think they're actually buying it because they care about the country and they want to show that, and like they identify with it. So I feel like now that the matter should be like closed if they have withdrawn the flags.
Do you feel that the Indian foreign minister is just dragging this out a bit then, demanding the apology? You said you feel the matter should just be closed now that the sale of the mats has been withdrawn.
I feel like I'm a bit on the fence about this, because in India, this is a big deal, like having like a national symbol on a doormat, because you were supposed, like, if I had like a laptop skin of my flag, that's probably okay. But because it's on my feet and I'm going to touch my feet to it, it's probably a big deal. So maybe I can see where she's coming from. I just don't think it's necessary, especially because this is Amazon Canada. So I don't know how they are supposed to like understand Indian sentiment and culture.
Anisha, do you think that maybe in the last 5 years this might not have been an issue as much? Do you think that Indians in India are becoming increasingly nationalistic, and that's why this has been turned into an international issue?
Actually, I would definitely agree. And like, nationalism is such a complex issue, especially now in India. And to be honest, even 5 years ago, I'm sure this would have made just as big a deal as it is now. But I do feel like people are especially like recently we had the law where the national anthem should be played before every movie in Indian cinemas, all over the cinemas, and people had quite an issue with that, because a lot of people feel like, oh, this is like forcing nationalism down our throats, and it's very different from patriotism that comes from the heart.
Absolutely.
So,
and Modi sort of brought that in, didn't he? Does that make you feel slightly uncomfortable?
So I'm from Maharashtra, where the national anthem has been playing before movies since I was a baby, because it was always there. So I feel like I've become habituated. But I do know, like, a lot of my friends from all over the country are like, whoa, I'm not going to stand up. Like, why are you forcing me to do this? I will stand up when I feel it, when I want to. So
thing is, many people would say, should we just, be very proud of where we're from? And there's nothing wrong with the anthem playing in that way.
I guess I would agree, because I have been used to the anthem playing, but I guess everybody has like different viewpoints and different feelings about how nationalism should be portrayed in our country and how patriotism should be, and everybody has
Shazia, can I just come in?
that aren't very rigid.
I'm going to bring in, thank you, Anisha. Will you stay on the line for me? Because I think you've made some really valid points. I'd like to bring Sunny back on the line. And I'd also like to bring in Sanjeev, who's just called me from Nottingham. Good morning, Sanjeev.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Now, are you offended?
Well, personally, I think there's more important things to worry about, but definitely I am offended, and I'm glad that Sushma Swaraj just made a point here, and she shouldn't back down no matter what until she gets an apology. And I'm also very angry at your journalist there who made the comment that this is political. It isn't political, actually.
Do you mean Sunny Handal, who is our guest?
Yeah. It isn't political. Okay. It's actually about being Indian and being proud of Indian. And the thing is, All these little things like a doormat with an Indian flag. How ridiculous is that you're wiping your feet on that? This is the first minister that stuck up for India. You've got the Congress Party in India, which hates Indians. You've got the Aam Aadmi Party in India, which hates Indians. You've got the Trinamool Congress, which hate Indians.
Sanjeev, I just want to come in here, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just have to be a little bit careful with this, because you're saying all these parties hate Indians, and none of these parties are on the line. None of these parties are on the line to defend themselves. So can we stick to the topic?
I'm on the line. They won't deny it.
I want to bring in Sunny Handal. Sunny, Sanjeev is saying that you've made him really, really angry. What are you doing? You're making my listeners outraged.
I have a feeling that Sanjeev is basically a BJP hack, just trying to say that everyone else who is not a BJP member hates Indians, which is a ridiculous comment to make for a start. But I think this is where the debate in India is going, and that's what I'm trying to highlight here. There is a political context to this whole scenario, which is that the BJP is trying to force patriotism down people's throats, saying that some people should be fined if they don't stand up in a cinema before when the national anthem is played. And initially, they didn't even consider the fact that disabled people may not be able to stand up in a cinema. So I think it's important to look at the broader context here. What you've got is a Hindu nationalist party which is trying to force nationalism down people's throat and say this is how things should be. And then you slowly get that. If you slowly go down that path, soon you're going to be at a point where even criticizing the BJP or criticizing the government would be, considered something which is outrageous or anti-national. And then you've got almost like a dictatorship. That's why I'm trying to say here, we should stand up for free speech, even if it offends people, because the whole point here is to allow people to have the freedom to criticize or to disagree with other people, or to live their own lives how they want to. I mean, so what if it offends you? I mean, if something offends someone, fine. I mean, it's not going to hurt your personal life if someone else is using the flag as a mat or on a T-shirt.
Okay,
but people
Sunny, let me bring in Sanjeev. Sanjeev.
Sunny, you've given him a lot of chances.
Well, I'm coming back to you now. Sunny has said that you're nothing but a BJP hack.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I am a BJP supporter because BJP wants a strong India, not just for one religion, but all religions. Since they came to power, there's been no communal tension. But listen to this, and please let me finish my sentence. The Congress Party, the Samadwadi Party, the AAP, and the Trinamool Congress all want to turn Hindus into second-class citizens in their own country. You name me one instance, Sonny, and you're a journalist, you name me one instance when any of them party, any leader or any member of their parties ever stuck up in the Indian Parliament and ever stuck up for Hindus that have been forced from their homes in UP, in Kerala, and in West Bengal, when the temples have been destroyed and the idols have been smashed. You name me one occasion when any of your party people have stood up to defend the Hindus that have been massacred in their own country. You name me one. Since the BJP come to power, there's been no communal tension.
All right, Sanjeev. Sanjeev, I feel that we're moving in a really different direction from the mat now, and I just feel that we need to bring this back to the mat. I'm actually just got a statement through from Amazon, and Amazon have said to us that the doormat was sold by a third-party seller on a Canadian website, and the item is simply no longer for sale on the site. So that was it. It was a third-party seller on Amazon's Canadian website, and they've withdrawn it. Anisha, I'd like to bring you back in. Now, you've heard the points from our caller, Sanjeev from Nottingham, and he's a member of the BJP and a proud supporter. And, you're from India, aren't you? And you grew up there. Now, as a proud Indian, how do you feel about all of this going on still? All these divisions?
So I feel like the last 5 minutes have just gone in a completely different tangent.
Absolutely.
But bringing it back to what Sanjeev said at the start, he started off with saying it's absolutely ridiculous to have a mat like that. But that's the thing, like he thinks it's ridiculous because we're Indian, and as Indians, we have been cultivated to believe that wiping your feet on something is disrespectful. Like touching your feet to something is disrespectful, and not everybody will understand that. So, and also he started off by saying that, well, this is not political, but then he went on a political rant. So I do think that there is some sense of politics here, especially like with the BJP, and the BJP has been accused of being a Hindu nationalist party, and I understand that, but I feel like we're just gonna have to wait and watch and see what the BJP does next, and hopefully I think that the doormat issue can be stopped here, even though I understand why Sushma Swaraj wants an apology, because I understand that it is really disrespectful, because that's how we've been taught to believe.
Okay, thank you so much. That was Anisha joining us from London. I'd like to go to Michael, who has called us from